The Trojan War, a story passed down through the ages, is known for its epic battles, the heroism of Achilles, and the tragic fate of Hector. But what if there was more to the story than meets the eye? What if the fall of Troy wasn't just the result of brute force, but a tale of deception, betrayal, and gods playing with the lives of mortals? It all began with the Greek kings, who had united under one banner to reclaim Helen, the most beautiful woman in the world. But what if the true reason behind this war wasn't love or pride, but a deeper, darker motive hidden in the shadows of ancient politics? The Greeks weren't just fighting to win a woman's heart. They were after something far greater, the legendary treasure of Troy. Legend tells that the Greeks laid siege to Troy for 10 long years, fighting against the Trojans who were led by their king, Priam. The city stood strong, surrounded by towering walls, a symbol of Troy's power and wealth. But behind those walls, the Trojans knew something the Greeks didn't. They had something precious, something worth more than gold, an ancient artifact gifted to their ancestors by the gods. It was the aegis, a shield that held immense power, capable of protecting the city from any weapon. This was the key to Troy's resilience. The aegis was said to be blessed by Zeus himself, making Troy virtually invincible. But the Greeks, cunning and desperate, weren't about to let this divine protection stand in their way. They devised a plan, one so devious that even the gods themselves would struggle to keep track of the lies, the manipulation, and the chaos that would follow. Enter the infamous Trojan Horse, a seemingly innocent gift left by the Greeks at the gates of Troy. The horse, hollowed out and filled with Greek soldiers, was meant to signal the end of the war. A supposed symbol of peace, it was offered as a tribute to the gods, an offering to ensure the Greeks would be allowed to leave in peace. But the truth? It was a weapon, a Trojan trick that would bring Troy to its knees. However, this wasn't just the Greeks doing. The gods were playing their own game. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and Poseidon, the god of the sea, were watching from above, pulling the strings of both sides. They wanted to see which side would emerge victorious, not for honor, but to prove which god's power was superior. On the night of Troy's downfall, the Trojans, believing the Greeks had finally given up, celebrated their apparent victory. The soldiers inside the Trojan horse waited, their hearts racing, as they heard the sounds of drunken revelry in the streets. The gates of Troy were open, and the horse was pulled inside. The city's guards were too distracted by their celebrations to notice the Greek soldiers quietly creeping out of the horse's belly. But before the gates could close, the gods had one final hand to play. Apollo, angry at the Trojans for neglecting his divine offerings, sent a terrible omen, a plague upon the city. The moment the horse entered Troy's walls, the skies darkened and a thunderstorm began to rage. But it was not the gods punishing the Trojans alone. It was Athena, smiling in the shadows, knowing that the true price of Troy's victory was about to be paid. As the Greek soldiers poured out of the horse, they set fire to the city's gates, while their comrades, waiting in the shadows, emerged from their ships. The Trojans, caught off guard, fought valiantly, but their fate had already been sealed. The gods had long since chosen their champions, and Troy's ancient walls could no longer protect it from the wrath of the Greeks. That night, as the flames of Troy's destruction reached the heavens, the gods watched in silence, their motives unclear. Had they intervened for love, for power, or for something deeper that no mortal could comprehend? As the smoke of Troy's fall spread across the ancient world, the story of the Trojan War became a warning of hubris, betrayal, and the fickle nature of the gods. But even as the city lay in ruins, the gods were already planning their next move. For in their eternal struggle for dominance, the war for Troy was just one chapter in an endless story. The fall of Troy was not the end, but the beginning of a far darker tale. A tale where the gods, playing with the lives of men, would continue to test the boundaries of fate itself.